Good Shabbos. This week is Parshas Bamidbar, and it's also Yom Yerushalayim, the day that we celebrate the reconquering of Yerushalayim, of Jerusalem, during the Six-Day War in 1967. I'd like to share with you a simple message. In the portion, we talk about the counting of the Jewish people, but it also talks about the camp of the Jewish people, and how all the tribes encamped around the Mishkan, around the tabernacle, which is the equivalent of the temple. And when they traveled, the tabernacle was disassembled and carried right in the middle of the Jewish people. And what's obvious is that we have the central aspect of the Jewish people, symbolized by the encampment, is the tabernacle, is the temple, is the Aron, the ark. It's the presence of God, it's the Kvod Hashem, the glory of God, the Shekhinah, divine presence which rests with the Jewish people. And when the Mishkan is later on turned into a temple, of course that happens in Yerushalayim. And I would say that there's probably not a happier day that we could talk about in modern times, besides perhaps Yom HaAtzmaut, when we declared independence and we were able to establish a country for ourselves in Eretz Yisrael. But the day that Yerushalayim was conquered, and the famous words came from the soldiers that entered the Temple Mount, Har Habayit Biyadenu, the Temple Mount is in our hands. And the reason why it's so important is because it's the temple, but of course the temple hasn't been rebuilt. We have the Dome of the Rock, the Al-Aqsa Mosque. There's constant controversy and problems around the Temple Mount. But the Temple Mount and Yerushalayim bring the people together, unite the people. When when David conquered the city, he also established that as the capital, and it united the Jewish people. The tribes there's 12 tribes. Everybody had different, they all had different aspects to them. They all had different goals. But at the end, when we have Yerushalayim, when we have the place where the divine presence rests, at that point, we become united. And of course, that didn't last for so long. It's only a generation or two before Yeravim ben Nevat set up another kingdom outside of Yehuda, outside of Judah. But that's still the central point that we all look towards. That's the place that we dive into. When you're in Chutz La'aretz, when you're outside of Israel, you point yourself to the land of Israel when you're davening. When you're in Israel, you point yourself to Yerushalayim. When you're in Yerushalayim, you point yourself to the Temple Mount. You point yourself to the Kodesh Kodashim, the Holy of Holies. And that's a place where really we could remain united. So these days when there's so many problems and divisiveness within the Jewish people and in the land of Israel, between the secular and the religious, the right and the left, there are so many different problems. But at the end of the day, that is really what unites us. That will keep us together and hold us as one people. There's a halachic issue whether you should say Hallel today and on Yom HaAtzmaut. That's a halachic issue, whether you say Hallel. But the emotional issue is quite clear. How could you not say Hallel? How could you not praise Hashem? How could you not be thankful for the miracle, whether it's an open miracle or it's a natural miracle? It's a miracle that the Jewish people, after 2,000 years, are now back in the land of Israel with Jerusalem as the capital. And Har Habayit Biyadenu. We don't have the temple. We still have much to go till we really attain a full peace. But we're in a better situation than we have been in many years. The best thing is to be able to say to God, praise to God, we bless God and we thank God for the fact that He's given us the ability to be back in Yerushalayim, a place where it was a refuge for Jews after the Holocaust, and it's still a refuge today. There's Jewish people coming from different countries who feel that they don't have a place in their country. They know they can go to Israel. They know that Jerusalem is the place where they really want to be. The Ethiopian Jews, they were taught from the time they're little children to go back to Yerushalayim. That was their dream. And that's still the dream of the Jewish people, and it's something that we should all be happy for and praise Hashem and really sing Hallel and be thankful to God that we've come to this point. And hopefully things will turn out for the best in the long run. But all we could do right now is work on that, work on further uniting the Jewish people, And also always keeping in mind that that's the goal, that we want to be one. We want to be one people. As it says in the Gemara, it says, in our tefillin we have Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. We declare the oneness and the unity of God. And it says, God also wears tefillin. And it says, the Gemara tells us, what is in the tefillin of God? Mi ka'amcha Yisrael gayachad ba'aretz. Who is like you, the nation of Israel, one nation in the land? That's what's important, that we unite and that we reflect the unity of God and the unity of the Jewish people. Good Shabbos.